If you listen to the show, you already know that we cannot exist without our sponsors. They are the ones who make things happen behind the scenes. So let's acknowledge Fuji Sports. We've been working with these guys for a while now, not only as far as this podcast is concerned, but also at the RŌL Academy. We've had their gear. I personally use their gis. What a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu, judo, MMA, tape, bags, anything you need for your jiu-jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Let's talk RŌL TV. There's so much content on there. It's ridiculous at this point. But I think what is even more intriguing, as time went on during the project, we've been recording most of the events that were taking place here at RŌL Academy. At this point, I mean, we have guys like Chris Howder, Armin Fati, Rafael Lovato Sr., and Pete the Greek. I mean, there are so many different events that we've kind of recorded it. Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, points of reflection and kind of going back for all the students to see what really happened and refresh their memory.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, being able to go back and look at all these high-level practitioners, Octavio Cudo, like one of the names you didn't mention. And I mean, just these guys that have been doing this for so long come in, teach these amazing seminars and workshops, and it's all recorded and there for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get additional savings on all this, type in code RŌL Radio at the coupon and get additional 30% off of your membership.
Nice. Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. That ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content that you have come to expect. Today's guest came to the United States with the promise of a job working at a jiu-jitsu academy. Upon his arrival, he found out the job was no longer available. But that did not deter him, and with only $100 to his name, Felipe Simplicio fulfilled his dream of becoming a BJJ instructor and the owner of his own academy. Here's the RŌL Radio with first-degree black belt and owner-instructor at Redzone Jiu Jitsu in Newtown, Connecticut, Felipe Simplicio.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live.
Yes, we are.
Another amazing conversation ahead of us. Yep. You know, it hit me, I don't know why, but it hit me today when I was kind of getting ready for this and I wrote down in my notebook, 148.
Yep.
Man.
That's pretty good, right?
Nearly 150 guests. Man, I mean, that's a lot of people we talked to at this point.
Gringo Ryan said the average podcast episode, or last 7 episodes. So I think we got that beat. We're messing up the curve for a lot of people.
I don't know. Somebody's listening to this. But listen, by the way, you know, if you are listening to this, thanks for listening. You know, we said this in the last episode. We started as a kind of as a I guess, time filler, as a joke almost, as an accident. And you know, nearly 150 episodes later, we are still here. We're still doing this, and mostly is because of you guys, because the feedback that we are getting.
Sure.
So we started doing something cool recently on our website. We put a simple form out there. You know, go and tell us, go to our website, RŌLRadio.com, and tell us what episode you liked the most. And then we have one cool original T-shirt, RŌL Radio T-shirts to give away, and then we are giving subscription out to the RŌL TV. So you can't really beat that, right? So
it's for dropping an email,
for dropping just the thoughts of what 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 you think, what your favorite episode, who was your favorite guest, and then maybe even based on that we can bring those guests back, and you know, that's another cool idea. But we'll read some of those answers on the air. So again, go to RŌLRadio.com, cast your vote, let us know what you think. We love your feedback, we love to talk about it, and we would love to hear from you. Absolutely. By the way, that was my son's.
Your son's water bottle?
Yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, he left it yesterday, and then he got home and he was freaked out that he left it somewhere. He didn't know where. I was like, you were only in one place, Jiu-Jitsu.
It's either in the car, right?
It's either in a car or it's at the academy. Yeah.
All right. Should we do this?
Should we do what?
Let's get started.
Let's get started. Felipe, great to have you. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for spending this afternoon with us. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
I think what's cool about this that you and we connected about doing this episode, and then we learned that you will be literally tomorrow, as we recording this tomorrow, you will be in Chicago, and you're gonna stop by at RŌL Academy to teach some classes and do some good jiu-jitsu, share your knowledge, share your perspective. Obviously, as this episode is releasing, this is all in the past, but it's a cool how coincidentally, I suppose, these relationships get created, right? And me reaching out to do you be on the podcast, and then you reaching out, hey, I'm here for Chicago Open. Do you mind if I swing by? And here we are having a chat, and tomorrow we get an opportunity to train together and share the mats and share the knowledge. Have you found that jiu-jitsu community being so welcoming everywhere? Is that common for you? I know you do compete. I know you do travel quite a bit. How do you feel about the community from that perspective?
I feel like most of the places are like that. People are very welcoming, try to help you out with as much as they can. And yeah, I feel like most of the places that I've been to, and I met people and I met new people that get together on that trip, help out somehow on that trip, and then evolve, learn with each other. I feel like most of the places are like that. And you were saying how we connect. It's funny because when you message about the podcast, your message went to my requests. Mm-hmm. It was on my main messages, and I usually don't check my requests. And then occasionally that day I checked my requests, and I was like, oh, who's that? And then I checked your messaging, and then we start connecting about the podcast. And coming back from Charleston Open with some training partners from Essential, we were talking about, what are we going to do next? What are we going to compete next? And then they were saying they were looking to do Chicago. And I was like, I don't know. It's already only 1 week, 2 weeks away. And then we were thinking, and then I remember about the podcast, and then you had an academy in Chicago. I was like, maybe I connect with him. Maybe you can stop by at his gym. We worked out something, I compete, and then we do all together, and that worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, jiu-jitsu community is so not only connected, but so helpful in that aspect that.
Yeah.
At least from my perspective, welcoming guests. Gary knows we love having guests at my academy. We just had Robert Drysdale here, literally a week ago. A week ago, and it's phenomenal to share the mats with different people with different skills, different perspectives, different story, and all that is to really continue building that community.
100%.
How did it all started for you? What was the beginning of your jiu-jitsu?
My jiu-jitsu beginning is funny because I was 15 and I was getting a little bully at school because I was a little chubby. I used to weigh around close to 200 pounds when I was 15-year-old. And
wait a minute. It took me a minute. At 200, so you
I have some pictures.
I'm laughing because Gary saw my pictures when I was fluffy.
Yes,
so.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm fluffy now, so it's all right.
So some incidents happen in school, and
when I was about almost 2 years later, I was 16, close to 17. I was in a party, in a young age group party. And then also we'll have some adults on this party, but we're some young people, at 16, 17, they will allow us to go to this type of party. It was a show, music show. And then we were in this party, and out of nowhere, this friend looked at me hey, you ever heard about jiu-jitsu? And I was I had no idea where jiu-jitsu was. It's no. He's oh, we should start doing jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu a few years back, and it's awesome. And I think my coach is in here and on this party. Let's go talk to him. And then we went talk to his coach, and we started talking to him. He's like, "Oh, I just opened a new academy in this place. You guys should come check it out and start training." And that conversation all happened on that party. So that was like in a Saturday. And a Monday, we used to work together in a supermarket, in a grocery store. And then we left the job. We used to work until like 5 p.m. So we left at 5. He would carry me on his bike, in the back of his bike. And then we would go to his old coach, gym, was like 45 minutes away on the bike. And then we went for the first time. I got my ass kicked on that night, but I love it. I was like, oh, I like this. This is fun. And we went 2 nights again. After that night, we went 2 other nights. And then on the third night, he ended up breaking his pinky. And I was like, and then he had to have like a minor surgery to fix it and all that. And then he's like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to keep going right now. I hope you can go. But the place was like too far, and I didn't have a bike. He was carrying me on his bike. And I was like, how am I going to get there? And I was like, oh, I don't want to stop this. I was almost 17. And then my parents are like, why don't you find some gym closer where we live? So maybe it's another gym around. And then after a week, I found this gym. We're about 15 minutes walk from my house. And I went there for a trial. And then I did a few trial classes in there, and I like it. And then I started training there. And the coach was friends with the other coach that I started. So they were like, they knew each other. It was a small town. And I started training there. I started liking it. But I was training, but I wasn't taking too serious for the first like 2 years. I was training every day, most of the days, but I was partying every weekend. I was like going out with friends.
All right, hold on, because you went like 2 years ahead. Hold on, I got like 70 questions. First of all, how in the world are you two on a bike going for 45 minutes? What is wrong with you two?
We were wild back then.
What year is this? Just to frame this?
2008.
2008. So at this point, so 2008, that's 15 years after UFC was established, right? So jiu-jitsu in 2008 is somewhat known. I mean, the growth is just beginning right around that time. How come you've never heard of it? What do you think was, like, how did that happen?
I had no idea. I was more into like soccer growing up. So watching soccer with my dad on the weekends, playing soccer at school. So I had no idea where fighting or MMA or jiu-jitsu was.
So any type of physical contact was not as appealing to you at that point, is that?
Yeah, I knew like judo because I had a friend who did judo as a kid, but besides that, I was like, if I might heard of jiu-jitsu at that time, I was thinking, oh, okay, it's judo. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea what the difference was, or was other things to do with it and all that.
So talk to me about this first day. You said you got your ass beat that first day. You go to the first class.
Yeah.
You walk in. What is the feeling like? Are you scared? Are you anxious?
I was excited to try it, and
so hold on. Do you know at that point when you're walking in? Do you know what jiu-jitsu is yet, or are you completely going in blind? And I'm gonna do some crazy stuff.
I'm completely going blind. I was like, "What? I'm wearing some pajamas right now."
I love it. So do you don't even know about gis? You don't need anything. You have zero expectations what was about to happen. Okay, so you walk in, you see a bunch of guys in pajamas doing crazy stuff, and you start the class, And what is your perception in your mind? What's happening in your head?
I don't know. Like, I guess just like, I don't know. We're gonna fight on these pajamas. So I'm gonna learn some cool moves.
And so are you hooked the moment you start that Monday?
Yes, but like I say, I wasn't. The first 2 years for me, I didn't take serious. I was training. I was having fun. When I switched for the other gym after those 3 days in one place and then a week trying to find a new gym, my first class on this new gym as a trial, I rolled with this big, like 200-pound black belt, and then he put me out.
What is that? Who does that?
Wait a minute. I don't even care. I don't even care what happened 2 years later. I want to know about this. Wait. So this is your class number 4. Yeah. This is your class number 4.
Right. So class. Wait, hold on. Class 1 and 2 go by okay. Class 3, your buddy rips his pinky off, and then class number 4, you get choked out. Nice. Okay.
Well, there you go.
And he came back.
It's going places. I love it. Okay, so you rolling with this monster black belt.
Yeah.
And what is happening? What's
he
going on?
He was just toying with me, like I didn't know anything. And so he put me in the cross collar choke from the back, and then I don't know. I don't think it's kind of like having fun, and then he knew I was gonna sleep, and then he just kept the choke, and then just was something that people would do back then, especially in Brazil.
Believe me, Believe me, I know. I mean, I started in 2000, and I can tell you endless stories. So, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. So you go out, you come back, and what's your first impression?
I was like, I didn't know where I was.
But clearly, that was not enough to stop you.
No,
because you continue training.
Yeah, I continued training.
But you also partying at the same time. You're living your life.
I was partying most of the weekends. I was like, when I started taking serious was like making my dad so proud and like happy with it, because before I take serious, I was training. He was happy that I was training, but I was focused. I was doing something. But I would leave my house every Friday night with 2 other friends, 2 bottles of vodka, and then I would come back on Monday morning drunk. So, and at that time, we didn't have like social media, cell phones, smartphones, any of that stuff. So we some people that will have a little more money, they will have that flip phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I didn't even have that, and so they had no way to contact me. So I was leaving Friday, and they were like praying for me to get back home. And I was showing up on Monday morning drunk. And then they were like, oh my God, where is this going to go?
Yeah. So that's a lot of trouble. And you said about 2 years later, after 2 years of all this, something changed.
Yeah. And
something changed, right?
Something changed, but also I have a very good friend who impacts that change very much. I would say he makes me see jiu-jitsu in a different way, and then he makes me see that I could do that for my life. I could be good, I could be focused on it, and then I could take something out of it in the future. So we used to leave, and he came from Rio to the town that I used to live. And he stayed there for a few years. And then we got very close. We make a friendship. And then by the time that we start getting more serious, he helped me with that change. He was leaving his house a little before training. My house was not on the way of the gym. He was coming to my house, call me out, help me fold my gi, and say like, hey, let's go, let's train. You're not going to stay home. You're not going to miss training. He was doing that to push me to train, and then trying to get me out of the friendships that I was going out every weekend, trying to put on my mind that like, hey, this is not good for you. you're going, you hang out with these people, they're not gonna take you anywhere. You know, you should be, you could be focused on something else. You could be putting more time in jiu-jitsu. And then he was inviting me to hang out with him and other people from the gym on the weekend. So I'll get out of that party time. You know what I'm saying?
It had to be hard to let go of that fun lifestyle.
Yeah.
And focus on something that is difficult to do. Because I mean, let's be honest. Jiu-jitsu, you know, conceptually, it's pretty simple, but it's very complex, right? There's a lot of layers, and really makes us, you know, turn our wheels. We have to think and troubleshoot constantly, and a lot of people find jiu-jitsu more mentally stimulating than physically. And then you talk about the other side of your life, which is, you know, fun, partying, drinking, you know, a very, especially in a younger age, very appealing to, you know, to younger individuals. And then, you know, you make that pivot. Was there one event that made you change that mind, or did that happen over a certain period of time?
I think it was something just like over time. Like I said, this friend was helping me, was like try pushing me to not do that stuff anymore, to try training. And then I started seeing it. I started like I tried some tournaments after that too. So I started seeing results. I started seeing that, okay, I'm training more. I'm not going out on the weekend, so I'm home resting, or I'm just hanging out with them. We used to go out, just eat and like nothing crazy. And then I was seeing results. I was seeing like results in shape wise. I would start getting more lean, lose a lot of weight. I started seeing results when I sign up and compete in the tournaments. And I was making more friends that were having the same mindset of like training, get better. And yeah, I think over time that I start getting into my mind more, and then just make me realize like, oh, I want more of this. I like this. And you guys probably know this friend of mine that I'm talking about.
Who's that?
You know, Max Jimenez.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the guy.
Oh, well, there you go. Again, small world, right? Everything connects all together.
Small world, yeah.
So what are your parents saying as they're seeing this transition from the kid who would leave on Friday and not show up till Monday? And then were they going to tournaments? Were they watching your progression?
Oh, my dad loved it when I started taking more serious, and then he started to going with me to every tournament that I signed up for, and was pushing me to compete more. I was competing at that time almost every other weekend, and then he was going with me in all the tournaments. He will be the guy that after every match, he will be on the side with water, Gatorade, everything. Like, what you need. He'll bring like a little pack of food. Like, hey, after I complete my fights here, here's your food, Luke. I didn't have to worry about anything. I just had to worry about going fight. He would take care of all the rest.
Yeah, and that support is really important, I think, from two perspectives. One, it is your father, right? So like we often look up to our fathers, and our fathers, you know, look at us with the sense of pride that our kids are establishing, you know, a point of success in their life. But also, even from just a tournament perspective, having that uki, that somebody who's right behind you and is really taking all these little things off of your mind so you can 100% focus on your performance is key component, isn't it?
Oh yes, 100%. He say like he say until these days like you haven't win the major tournaments of black belt yet because I'm not there. I need to move to US.
Get him over here. There you go. What are you waiting for? Yeah. What are you waiting for? Slowing you down. But there had to be. Have you ever talked to your dad about this? Have you guys ever had a conversation about this? How that brought you closer? Like how that relationship was made stronger because you focus on jiu-jitsu and he was there to help you and he was there for the tournaments?
We never really talk about it, but we know it did bring us very closer.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
deep. That's pretty deep. So then you are juvenile at that point, right? I mean, that
Yeah, 17.
17,
I got my
18,
black
right?
belt, 17, almost at 16, transition 16, 17, I got my blue belt. And I start at 18, I start competing more. And then I remember I came to US for the first time. I was almost 19. I came to compete at Worlds in a blue belt. And
As a juvenile, or as an adult?
as adult. I
As
was
adult,
18, almost 19. Yeah.
Okay.
And the first time I competed on the Pyramid on the Long Beach, I was like, oh my God, I love this place. And then I told everyone, one day I want to move to US. I want to leave doing jiu-jitsu. I want to have my academy here. I want to make it happen. And I was just a blue belt at 18 years old.
Yeah, I mean, look how life unfolded in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing things happen when we have a dream and we can develop a plan and we can really pursue what we really want to do. I am curious, what was the feeling in your head, what was the thoughts in your mind when you competed for very first time as an adult? That change from juvenile to adult oftentimes is a very big step for a lot of young.
I think the first feeling was like worry about that everyone was going to be stronger than me.
Yeah,
I think that was the first feeling.
Were they stronger?
Not really. You know, it's over time you realize that if the guys are like, he can be stronger than you, but that strength can only help him so much in a fight. You know, over time in a fight of 6, 7, 10 minutes, that strength can only help him so much. And if you have a better technique, if you develop your game better, you can go around that strength.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. Always interesting conversation. How we bridge from that teenager, juvenile to the adult.
Yeah,
that's often very difficult conversation, and I do think that is difficult for young men or young individuals, girls and guys, to make that bridge between those two. But then also it's interesting to see how that strength, quote unquote, is not as relevant as we think it is. It is important, but it's not as big deal as we think it is.
Yes, as we think, we most of the times we think it's oh my God, it's but it's not that big of a deal.
All right, so fast forward a few years ahead, and you coming to US for very first time. You step off that plane, and what's in your mind? Like this is the dream coming true here.
This is the dream coming true. I'm in another side of the country now. I travel international for the first time, competing at Worlds. It was the dream.
That's it. You're done. Dream has been accomplished, and there's nothing else to do. Or are you dreaming more? Are you making more steps?
After I did that, I had on my mind, after the first time I came, I have on my mind that, oh my God, I wanna leave here one day. I wanna keep working. I wanna keep building up. I wanna get my black belt, and I wanna leave here one day and have my school and work with jiu-jitsu. And that trip made me realize that I wanted jiu-jitsu for my life. I wanna work with jiu-jitsu full time. And I didn't want to have like a 9-to-5 job. I didn't want to go to school to have a degree and then work on any area. That trip made me realize that, okay, that's what I wanted to do.
How many years are between that day when you first time step on U.S. soil to the point where you are moving to U.S. and you know you're going to live here and jiu-jitsu is your life?
Jiu-jitsu wasn't full-time in my life when I first moved here, so we need to get on that story.
Okay, all right. So you moved here without that, okay. But so what's the period of time?
So since that day when I moved, I was 18. When I moved here, I was 24.
Okay, so it's about 6 years.
Yeah.
During that 6 years, is that your dream? You never give up on it. You chase it. You do everything that's necessary. This is the only option in your mind.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. I mean,
I was before I came here, I was in college and everything. So when I had the opportunity to come, I dropped college, I dropped my job, everything. I sold everything I had, and I just came.
So you got to let me in on this, because 6 years is a freaking long time. Most people, I would say 99% people that I know would freaking give up on that a long time ago. They would be like, this is not happening. Well, 6 years, there's no way anybody's going to hang out that long dreaming about something that's not accessible across the continent, across the ocean, right? On the other side of the world. But you say no, it's still happening. What's driving you? What's the purpose here?
I don't know. I think I'm the type of person that when I put something on my head, on my mind that I want to achieve, I don't stop until I do achieve.
Yeah. So I'm guessing.
If it's hard, if it had bumps on the way, I'm going to keep going until I reach that goal.
Yeah. So I'm guessing in these 6 years, it wasn't just a dream. You were making progression to make it happen. You weren't just like, it's going to happen someday. No, it was like these are the steps I need to take in order to make it happen. Right.
Yes. I was training at that point. I would start training twice a day. I was doing conditioning training 3 times a week. And I was trying to compete as much as I could. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm trying to meet new people. I travel. Every time I was coming, I started coming here twice a year, every year to compete in the US. And every time I came, I was trying to visit different academies to meet new people, to see how they do everything, see how their academies were. And then it's like, just to have in my mind, like, okay, I want to have like this one day.
So you come to U.S., you move to U.S., and you did mention that jiu-jitsu is not your livelihood at that point. Why do you move then? What was the purpose of moving here?
So I first came to U.S. When I came to my older coach in Brazil, the one who I trained white to black belt. When I moved, I was a black belt. But we came for a tournament in New York. I was a brown belt still. Was 2015. And then we came to a tournament, and then he had a friend, like a lifetime friend, that they went to school together in Brazil when they were a kid. And then we came, we joined this friend from my older coach. We hang out. He took us a lot of places in New York. We competed and everything. And then my coach say like, oh, if you want, he knew that I want to come and live here one day. He's like, oh, he can help you. If you want to come, you can talk to him, see what he can do. And then the guy say, oh, I own a construction company. So if you want to come and see how things work around here, you can come, you can train, you have your tourist visa, you can stay for 6 months and then see if that's what you really want. And if you can make jiu-jitsu happen, see where things are around, and then you decide. And then I was like, okay, I want to do that. And then after that tournament, they went back to Brazil. I stayed. And I stayed for 6 months. And I was working construction 7 to 5, and I was training jiu-jitsu at night in this academy. Every day I was working 7 to 5, and then training 6:30 to 8 jiu-jitsu, and then going home, sleep, wake up 7 to 5, 6:30 to 8. Same thing, Monday through Friday. And after 6 months, I was like, man, my body's beat up right now, because I was like carrying stuff with construction all day, and then having to train at night. I did a few tournaments. I was a brown belt still. I placed in a few tournaments. I win a few of them, and but I went back to Brazil with the mindset, but like, I want to go back, but I want to teach jiu-jitsu. But I really want to go back. And the guy that I trained for 6 months in that academy, I went back to Brazil in November 2015. I was back in Brazil. And February 2016, I got my black belt. And then the guy messaged me like, hey, if you can come in like 3 weeks, I have 3 schools for you to start teaching. You're going to be able just to do jiu-jitsu like you want. I was like, that's perfect. in those 3 weeks, I dropped college, dropped my job, and I sold everything. And I was like, let's go. I'm gonna go. Then March 2016, I came. That same friend that helped me for 6 months picked me up in the airport, and then we go to 2 of those 3 gyms. The other one was closed, I think. And we talked to the coaches in there. I didn't speak any English, by the way. So I had 0 English. And they were like, oh, we're not looking for a coach. I think it's misunderstanding. Like we're looking for someone like maybe like once a week, like, but we're not sure yet. And I was like, I'm really serious?
I did all this.
I just sold my livelihood.
And then I was back here. So I literally, with everything that I sold, and I would say because I came in a rush, I sold everything, got my ticket, get all the things together, and I only had like $100 on my wallet.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was here with $100, expecting to have a job the next 2-3 days. Didn't happen. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have much English. I didn't have a house, a place to stay. And I have $100. I was like, great.
Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, what do I do now?
Okay, so what's going on in your head at that point? I mean, again, this is another event or another substitute event where a lot of people will literally put their head down, start crying, and say, "Oh my God,
yeah,
like everything that's happening to me right now, it just sucks. My life sucks. This was supposed to happen. It didn't happen." A lot of people would literally, just give up completely. What's going in your mind?
I thought about give up a bunch of times, but I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm not going back to Brazil. And I remember one thing. When I left to come, I was coming to stay. And my dad told me, like, just think about one thing. You're leaving everything behind and you're going. And just think about one thing. If everything goes wrong when the time that you're there, if it's a year, 2, 3, 5, whatever it is, if everything goes wrong, it's going to go right. Because you can come back. We still here. You still have your family. But you can come back knowing a new language. How many people in Brazil speak English? It's like, if everything goes wrong, it's going to go right.
I gotta tell you, what you're just telling about your father, it just tells me what a phenomenal leader he is, what a phenomenal figure. Because I'm even thinking about this. Many parents would say, "Are you sure you want to do this? This is difficult. You're going on the other side of to the other continent. You don't even know the language. You don't even know anybody over there. Like, this is probably a bad idea. You could go to school over here. You could, a lot of people would find million of reasons why this is a just terrible idea. And your father, that's complete opposite. He's the 1%. He tells you, listen, you got nothing to lose. Matter of fact, if everything goes down the shithole, you still have a place to come back because we'll be here fully supporting you. I mean, that had to feel good to have that safety net, that support of your own father right at that moment.
Oh, 100%. So, and then on my head was like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to make this happen. And I talked to this friend, that the one who helped me for the first 6 months. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to find a place for you to stay for a few months. So I'm going to get you a job in construction, and you get some money. You're not going to pay anything on the place you're staying. So you get some money, you save some money so you can rent your own place. And I work in construction for another year and a half, I say. And I left that gym. I started training with another gym. And after a year and a half, the gym that I was training, the coach offered me to teach the little kids class. I didn't have much English, but as soon as he told me, like, hey, do you want to teach the little kids class? It's 3 times a week, and I'll pay you this, and you also can teach the noon class on Monday and Friday. I was like, that was the adults. I was like, yes. Right away, my first answer, yes, I want it. Even if I knew that I didn't have much English, I was like, yes, I want it. And that was my first time teaching here. I had someone that was helping me on the class, so with English and everything in the beginning. And then I started teaching the little kids and the noon class on Monday and Friday. And I was staying for the bigger kids to help my coach to teach and also see how he was teaching, how he was running the class. So I would learn too how teaching everything, because I never had teaching before. And the bigger kids class, we have this girl that trains, that her mom is an English teacher in school. And then over time, she was seeing me, watching. I was trying to learn. I was trying to understand everyone, trying to like doing my best, to grow and learn the language. And then one day she comes to me and like say like, hey, and ask me if I was doing English classes. I was like, no. And then she's like, what do you do on Sunday? I was like, I'm just rest at home, like, nothing special. And then she's like, okay, so you're going to come to my house every Sunday this time, and I'm going to teach you English.
Wow.
And I was like, really? He's like, yes. And you don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to do it for you.
Wow.
So I started learning with her for a few months. She gave me those classes, and I'll say that helped me a lot, because she started teaching me like everything from the beginning, like you're in school. How do you say A, B, C? Like start from basics to basics until you can get a word together. Yeah. And that helped me a lot. And then after that, every time I start learning a new word. And every time I learn a new word, I try to use that as much as I can through my day. So, and that just kept growing,
How long did it take you to feel comfortable with English as a language?
I would say after like almost 4 years here.
Yeah. I think what people don't realize, and you don't know this, but I mean, I came to this country in my early teens, and in a similar situation where my dad, I was much younger than you, but my dad threw me into English speaking school, and he refused to do bilingual programs and all that. I literally got dumped into school, and I had to figure it out. Like, I didn't have any choices. But I think a lot of people underestimate how difficult it is to be surrounded by everything around you where you do not understand, or forget about understanding. You cannot communicate, period.
Yes.
Period.
Oh, it's so hard.
It is. And then on the top of it, you talking about teaching classes.
Yeah.
So first of all, how in the world are you teaching kids without English? Because Gary is trying to teach him knowing English and is a failure. So
it's hard, man. It's hard. I was most of like just like saying grip here, like, and showing the move. And for all the other coordinations in class, I'll have the guy that was helping me. So that was good. But like was hard. And then it's funny because like kids they want to know why they're doing everything.
Yeah,
so they want to talk to you. They want to express themselves. They want to communicate with you. Yeah. And then also the parents want to know how the kids are doing it. Yeah. So it was a lot of people trying to get talk to me. And I was like, I don't have no idea what these people are saying.
Just smile and nod.
Yeah.
Smile and nod.
You know what? Excuse me. When I was much younger, I think in high school, one of my teachers told me, and he was, I don't remember the circumstances, but I was bummed out about my English and my ability to communicate and all that. And he told me, the moment you start dreaming in the other language, this is when you know where you are proficient. You know that you got it. Like your brain is processing. Do you remember when you start dreaming in English?
Yeah, like it's funny because the girl that was teaching me, she's like, you will know you learn English perfect when you start. You're like, when you have your own thoughts through the day, when you start thinking in English, now you know English.
All right. So I'll tell you a funny story, not to take away from you here, but it just came to my mind. So my dad is Polish, and obviously I speak to Polish with my dad, and it happens all the time. All the time when we call, and he lives in Poland, right? But I call him, blah, blah, blah. And in the middle of the conversation, I switch. And like, I don't even think about it. And I start speaking English to him. And then I hang up the phone. Listen. And then I hang up the phone and I turn away to my family and I speak Polish to them. And they are like, what is wrong with you, man? And I was like, So
that happened to me too.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I'll feel your pain. But listen, it's like, this conversation completely went in a direction where I was not expecting. But I think what's phenomenal about your story is that from the very beginning, there were many reasons why you should give up. Matter of fact, many would tell you what you're doing is just simply stupid. This is completely not what you should be doing. This is against the odds. And, you wasting your time even from the third day when your friend broke his pinky to the fourth day when you got choked out unconscious. To the other thing, the points where you couldn't get to the gym and you had to look for one. And all through these obstacles, even when you came back to Brazil and it took years for you to come back and all the other things. Today, you do what you dreamt of. You living the dream. I mean, quite literally. You do jiu-jitsu for a living.
Yes.
You teach. Your English is phenomenal. I mean, you can easily communicate. Do you think that you are at the point of success? Do you think that you have achieved what your goal was?
So professionally, in that sense of point, I think yes. So I wake up every day and then I do what I love through my whole day. So I go to my training, I teach, I share my knowledge with other people, I connect with other people. And on that part, yes, 100%, I achieve what I wanted to do. I just want to keep growing on that aspect, grow my gym and everything like that. But because of the situations, the way I came, that I couldn't focus much in training, and then I started teaching, I also couldn't focus much in training, so I had to teach more. I was like, I need to make a living. I need to make money. I need to pay for everything that I was getting here. And because all of that part, for years, I couldn't put much focus like I wanted to on training to compete. So I feel like the part of me that is still not kind of missing, is that having that time to focus in training and compete in a high level and achieve my competition goals, But now I'll say 2023 is the year that I finally can have that time that I can put my mind, okay, this is my training time. And I can separate right now my training time from my teaching time through the day. And now I can go focus on that. And I also can compete more often. Now I have a few sponsorships, so that help me out. So I have a better conditions financially too. So I can be more out there and compete more. So I feel like I lost a few years that I could have done that. But because I had to focus in another area, so I still want to do that. I'm doing that now. I still have those goals to achieve in tournaments and competition. And now that I can train more, I feel like with a little more time of training, maybe another year, I will be in the way I want to be competing.
Yeah, but I mean, the question is, did you really lose the years? Because If you haven't done
No,
what
really.
you've
Yeah,
done,
I put in. Yeah.
yeah, if you
Yes.
haven't done what you've done, you wouldn't be where you are
Yes.
today, which means
100%.
consequentially you wouldn't be able to do what you want. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some time passed, but I don't know if I would look at it as you lost years. So it's,
Yeah. True. Yeah.
yeah. You know, one of the harder things that I think a lot of instructors encounter is that balance between teaching and training, especially if the competition is the focus. And we've had many guests on this show who share their thoughts on this. I would be curious to actually pick your brain on this because you are literally living this. You are in it right now. And some do say that, you know, you can't really do both. It's very difficult to do both. If you want to build a successful community and student base and run an academy, you really have to focus on that. At the same time, if you want to compete, the amount of time and a selfish effort that goes into it, you know, you have to be hyper focused on that. You have to really take care of your body, your mind, and your training and schedule and all the other things that go with it. Do you think that it's possible to do both, or one should really choose one or the other in order for them to be successful?
I think you can do both, and especially like on these days that like most of the high level athletes, they are doing both right now. So because like you have to think about it, if you're not doing both, what are you making money off? It's only a few people that can make money on jiu-jitsu these days by only competing.
True.
Most of the athletes, they have to teach, so they have the income, so they can compete.
Yep.
And eventually they can earn a little bit of money. And then that teaching money is go for something else in their life. But it's hard for you. It's only a hand. You can maybe count in one hand the few athletes on these days that they only compete. So I think you can do both, but you have to separate them. So like what I do in my gym is like I have a few morning classes that I have someone else teaching that class. So I only teach 2 morning classes at my academy. So, but those 2 morning classes that I teach, I also use them as a training session for me. The other 3 days in the morning, I train in White Plains at Essential with JT. So that's my main training to get ready for compete. That's where I'm there. I put my mind into the training. So he's running the training session. So I do whatever they say for us to do. And then in afternoon and night, I put my focus on teaching my students, growing the academy. And I use the night class to roll with my students, not like I train in the morning, a competition class, but more like exchanging positions with them, trying a different aspect, work more specific stuff. That will be my second training session on my mind, but I'm also helping them grow because I'm not just there to try and beat them up, you know? And that's what I'm separating right now. I use the mornings for being that selfish part. So that's my training. That's my training time for compete. And afternoon and night, okay, that's the time that I'm putting into other people to help them. And also I do an extra training with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was Zanji Rivera who said that
Coaching is selfless and being an athlete is selfish.
Selfish. Yeah. And you know, unfortunately these are 2 different functions that we're trying to you know, execute, helping others or helping ourselves. So, but I have to tell you, your entire story is quite mind blowing to me. You know, somebody who has moved from different country to here, and you know, so I know what you have gone through, and you know, I can completely relate to some of the obstacles that you are talking about. But I feel like you are taking this to the next level, like the desire and the passion to really achieve the goals that you've set for yourself in a very young age. You know, look at you now. You literally living the dream. You taking this American opportunity, because that's what it is, and you're really making living on it. Have you had that conversation with your father? I mean, is he proud of you, of what you achieved?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I bet.
He's so happy. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
You just got to bring him for the tournament so you can start
so
winning.
Oh,
Damn it. I mean, what's wrong? What's going on here?
I gotta bring him up. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's phenomenal. Listen, we're creeping up on it in the hour. We do want to be respectful of your time, but one of the things that we do end of each episode, and we didn't tell you this, so it's a surprise, but we have a question for you from a previous guest. So a previous guest asked a question. He had no clue that you will be answering it. Matter of fact, I think this is going to be interesting because the previous guest is not nobody. It's not nobody. It's Vitor Shaolin.
Yeah,
so.
you might have heard of this guy, Vitor.
Yeah, Vitor Shaolin. Oh yeah. We talked to Vitor Shaolin.
From Shaolin from New York.
Yes.
Oh, I know him. I trained at his school before.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was on the show just a moment, the previous episode, and he has a question for you without knowing that it's going to be you that's going to answer it. So it makes it actually interesting. But Gary's going to take a lead on this. Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, so we did clue him in that, you were competition driven. And his question is IBJJF rules. Which ones do you like? And what would you bring in from, say, wrestling or judo to change those rules, bring those into the IBJJF?
So what I like about the rule and what I would change it.
Yeah, if you could bring something in from maybe wrestling or judo to change that.
Yeah, is there something that you could bring from other sports into Jiu-Jitsu IBJJF rules that would benefit the rules?
Okay. What I like about the rules is it's like we have some tournaments allow everything, right? So about the BJJF, I like that we can separate what you cannot do to keep the athletes safe in a certain point. And I think it's important to have those rules, especially like example, we do no-gi, we allow heel hooks and ripping, right? I don't think that would be something safe to do in a gi because how are you going to escape from that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think those rules, that's something that I like about the rules, that you can separate where you're doing one thing, where you're doing one belt, then we do another belt. Like another example, so white belt cannot shoot single leg with the head on the outside. Because like a white belt, they still don't know, especially like if at the gym, they don't know much what to do. Imagine with adrenaline going. And by having those rules, you prevent them to get hurt and even a bad injury that could happen. So that's what I like about the rules, that you can separate what each belt can do and what each level can do and the difference of the gi and the no-gi in certain aspects. But what I will change, I don't think I will bring anything from other sports like wrestling or judo, but I will do change the 50-50 rule for sure.
The controversial topic.
Oh, for sure.
But it's always interesting to talk about rule sets, right? Because now, I mean, obviously IBJJF, one of the larger organizations in Jiu-Jitsu and Gi Jiu-Jitsu and no Gi too, but Gi, is the primary focus. But then you have others creeping up and kind of growing very fast, like ADCC, which completely different rule set, completely different objective, right? And I'm curious what you think about this, but I think that diversity, that those different organizations give us a variety of what we can do. And they almost create not different sports, but really different flavors of what we can and how we can compete. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I agree with that. I think it gives you more option to fight at different styles, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I'll change on IBJJF is I'll make everyone fight 6 minutes. Blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, black belts, everyone fights 6 minutes. And I will make, instead you get advantage for almost do something, you'll get 1 point. That will change completely any type of fight.
It definitely
will. Because you think about it, black belt adult fight for 10 minutes, right? If you make that 6 minutes, you make the fight way more interesting and way more interesting to other people watch too.
Yeah, definitely. It would be less stalling, more aggressive.
Because you don't have much time to do something. You have 6 minutes. Yeah. That goes like this.
Yeah.
But when you have 10 minutes, you don't start bringing the heat. You take your time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a very good point. I mean, this is all part of, who knows? I mean, IBJJF is changing. They are growing. They are evolving. They introduce some changes every single year. So, I mean, like them, love them or hate them. It is what it is. It's one of the biggest platforms that we have at this point. And, short of them, I don't know another organization who would come that close with the amount of competitors. I mean, they are by far the largest that is available around the world today. So, until then, they will continue doing what they do. And, and then again, I mean, Robert Drysdale talk about that. I mean, IBJJF singly changed the way how competition has been viewed, in the last decade or two. Without them, we wouldn't have competition jiu-jitsu. They are the ones who introduced this. They are the ones who drove it. So, even those who are not big fans of jiu-jitsu, of the rule set, it is what it is. They deserve the credit for growing the sport to what it is today. So what we have.
100%.
Felipe, before we start wrapping this up formally, where can listeners find you? If anybody wants to connect with you directly, where do you teach? Obviously you're in New Jersey area, but where do you teach specifically? Social media, websites. Where are you at?
I'm in Connecticut area.
Oh, Connecticut. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. You can connect me with on my social media. I'm open to talk to pretty much anyone. Can just connect me on my Instagram, my IG, and I have my school in Newtown, Connecticut. It's Redzone Jiu Jitsu. I train with JT in New York. My school is also affiliated with him. And yeah, pretty much I'm more on my social media these days. So connect with me, just pretty much send me a DM, anything. I'll answer everybody.
Yeah, you do have some cool techniques that you post fairly frequently. So I do encourage you guys to check out his Instagram particularly. And you have some instructionals too, right? On BJJ Fanatics and Jiu-Jitsu X, right? So
yes, I have one on BJJ Fanatics, and I had 2 on Jiu-Jitsu X.
Yeah, so we'll post the links to all of this in the show notes. So if you guys are interested in connecting with Felipe, feel free to do it, and then check out his instructionals. And then, hey, listen, if you ever make it down here, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person tomorrow.
Are you busy this week?
Are you busy this week? What are you doing tomorrow?
I'll be there tomorrow.
Nice. Be safe. It's a long drive.
All right. Well, phenomenal. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll continue watching you as you doing the amazing things. And I can tell you once again, your passion and your drive for what you do is quite remarkable. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're looking forward to meeting you in person, and tell your dad we said hello.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
Let's wrap this up. Later.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.